Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today, instead of painting something new, I'm going to try to work on something that I already painted. Here I have my Ballistus Dreadnought that I painted around 2 years ago. So of course, with time we become better painters, and that's why every time that I look at this miniature I have like this feeling of, if I had to paint this miniature right now, there's so many things that I will do in a different way. So today we're going to change that. Here we have a closer look of this Dreadnought before I start repainting it, and if you like how it looks now, I would like to remind you that there's a video on the channel painting this miniature, so just in case I will leave the link in the description. I'm just planning to do some small changes on the arms, highlights and especially the base. I will start with the base. Here we have another Dreadnought for comparison, and I think that this base looks much more interesting than this one, so that's why I will try to make some changes now. Now I'm just going to cut and glue some bits of sprue to the base that will look like great cobblestones. Now that the glue is dry, I'm going to apply astrogranite to cover those cobblestones and to also add some extra texture to the base. As usual, now I'm just going to use Abaddon Black to create some nice shadows among those cobblestones, and after that I'm just going to dry brush the whole base with Wraithbone. Nice, the base is done, so now I'm going to use exact same colors. I will use Wraithbone to remake those parchments, and after that I'm going to use Abaddon Black to cover some areas of this Dreadnought. At this moment, I'm going to try to remove this purity seal, so hopefully I'm not going to ruin the miniature. Well, 2 years ago I had the brilliant idea of using plastic glue on top of paint, which I shouldn't do, but actually thanks to that now I have this miniature without any issue. I will just remove a little bit of the glue here and it should be okay, but yes, we shouldn't do that. It feels very different already, I'm happy about that, so I'm going to continue making some changes. Now I'm going to use Corax White to cover that white color, and then I'm going to use Iron Warriors to paint some extra parts of the weapon, some inside parts of the Dreadnought, and also I would like to paint this area right there. Before I continue painting, now I'm going to glue some bits from the Black Templar upgrades, so just in case, very recently I made a video doing an unboxing of this box, so if you are interested, I'm going to leave the link in the description. As always, I'm going to use plastic glue, so before gluing those bits to the miniature, I'm going to scratch the paint, so like that the plastic is going to be in contact with the plastic. And I will do the same to glue again the purity seals that I removed previously. I'm going to change the highlights slightly, and for that I'm going to use again Iron Warriors, and after that I'm going to highlight the metallic elements that are going to be the most exposed with Lead Belcher. At this point I'm just missing some details, so what I'm going to do right now is to use Balthasar Gold to paint some gold detail around this Dreadnought. Then after that I'm going to use Execrator shade that I will use to apply a thin layer over all the gold color and the parchments and purity seals. Then I will just like to use a little bit of Nuln Oil on the areas that I covered completely with some metallic silver color, like for example this weapon and some inside parts of the Dreadnought. Now let's add some highlights. Retributor Armor for the gold, Stormhost Silver for the silver, and then Evil's and Scarlet for the red. Well, it is time to add some color to this Dreadnought, so on this knee I'm going to use the Crusade seal that I'm using for my own Crusade for Black Templars, and here I'm going to add some personal heraldry. For that I'm going to use these colors plus the same black that I use for the armor. So for the yellow I'm going to use first Averland Sunset, and after that I'm going to use Imperial Yellow. For the reds I'm going to use Corn Red, and after that I will apply as a highlight Evil's and Scarlet, and then I'm going to use the same white that I used previously as well, Corax White. I think that at this point I just need to add some writings to those Purity Seals and Crusade Seals, so for that I will use again Corax White and Abaddon Black. And this is it, this is the final result, this is my Ballistus Dreadnought after a few changes. And of course, as always, I invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about this miniature, because I did a lot of changes here today actually, so I'm curious about what you think about them, or if you think that it was better earlier or now. I have to admit that I'm very happy with what I'm seeing here. I like this a lot actually, because I mean previously it felt like a miniature that I painted 2 years ago, obviously because it's like that, and now this one, when I look at it, it's like, okay, this feels like it was painted much more recently, so I don't know, I'm happy about how it looks right now. I decided to change a lot of things. First of all, I decided to make it less colorful on top. Like, as you can see, the weapons were previously red, now they are more into the same color of the armor, plus those silver metallic colors, and I don't know, I wanted to go for this vibe. Those huge red weapons felt a little bit weird to me, so I was like, okay, I will try to keep as much red as possible, like in all the cables and lenses, even the missiles, but I was like, no, I'm going to paint the weapons in a different color. I like it more like this, obviously, that's why I wanted to change it, and I'm happy with the change. And also, I was not happy with the shoulder pads, because we had like this huge white color, and the things that they put on them, it felt like quite empty, or I don't know. I think that it was not looking as good as it should. Now that I have like more black on the side and it's just like a white stripe, it feels less empty. I still have like empty space here and here, but it's okay. I didn't want to just put something because of putting something. It doesn't feel bad to me right now, so I was like, okay, I'm going to leave it like that, and if in the future I feel like I should add something there, then I will just add it. It is less colorful on the top, but much more colorful on the legs, as you can see there with heraldry and the crusade seal. So I don't know, I was like, okay, I'm going to go full into it, because this is something that I didn't do previously and I always regret. So now it's like, okay, I cannot complain anymore. Here we have all the heraldry that we can add it to this Dreadnought, and I don't know, it feels more interesting like this. Not much to mention about the back of the miniature. I also changed the color of the weapons, as you can see here, and I decided to paint a lot of silver in this area, because I was like, okay, I want to have like the Mechanicus symbol properly painted there with the white and black. I think that the changes felt very nice on this Dreadnought, and of course I have to talk about the base. I just wanted to make this consistent with the rest of my Black Templars, and now it feels quite good. Sometimes I like to do that, like right now, I like to go back to a miniature that I painted long ago and try to give it a second chance to make it look much better than it used to look. So again, I invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about this miniature, and of course, as always, if you enjoy the content of the channel and you would like to support me and help me to continue improving and growing, I invite you to check the link to my Patreon in the description. And with all of that being said, this is it, this is the final result. This is how I repainted this Ballistus Dreadnought after 2 years. I'm very happy with the changes, and of course, as always, if you are still here, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.